work on editing Rocky 4 up here. Building is basically empty, but we're gonna try to fill it up with some inspiration. Come on. You can't film anymore. Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of complicated. You're looking at something that's 35 years old, or even more. Pieces are missing, but it's a great puzzle. Kind of like being caught in a time machine. We're the only ones here. This is like the day the earth stood still. Come on in. Okay, back to work.
Morning.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good, thanks. Hey.
Okay. Ah, Sunset Boulevard. Yeah. Street of Broken Dreams. I remember standing down there in 1975. No battle plan. I just knew that you got your back against the wall. And there's no retreat. There's no retreating. That was it. Because in my life, as you walk forward, the ground behind you disintegrates. So there is no retreat. You either fall forward or you cease to exist.
Why did you write this?
I guess subliminally, I was doing something that was kind of like in lieu of talking to a therapist. Everyone dreams to have.
Doesn't the title mean? Rocky, over here, please. Is this the first time the champion has given up his crown? Doesn't the title mean anything to you anymore?
Everyone dreams
Now, we know you've agreed
to
to take
have
this
an
fight, but don't you
opportunity
think you're moving a little too
to
quickly?
go for it one time. At least the opportunity. If you fail,
Rocky Balboa will have no official championship title.
which quite often happens, at least you had the opportunity.
Drago, what does this
When that
fight mean to you?
opportunity
Do you have any feelings
is
on it?
denied and you never get that moment to shine, to show what you have, that's what drives people insane. Like, I just want to know, did I have it or did I not? But don't deny me my moment to get up,
Drago, what
to
does
get
this
up to the
fight mean
starting
to you?
line and
Do you have any
run
feelings on it?
the race one time. If I fail, I fail, but at least I know that I had that
Drago,
opportunity.
what does this fight mean to
But
you?
I didn't have it, but at least I
Do you have any
tried.
feelings on it?
That's it. This one here is in 1985. This is the fourth one. I never thought we were getting past the first one. To this day, I just cannot describe what Rocky is. And maybe that's the beauty of it, that it just touches on a level that even I don't understand. No one goes through life without a bunch of bruised knees and sore knuckles. It's just one big battle. And I think they identify with that because quite often life makes us go beyond what we think we can go beyond. And it's scary when you're being pushed into that unknown. You're like, oh yeah, I get married and now I have to support my kids and then I have another child and then I'm losing my job and political climates change. It's like constant battle. That's why I wrote that line. No one hits harder than life. It will beat you to your ground, beat you to the ground and keep you there if you let it, and it will. Life is a bitch. Life is gravity. And gravity is the strongest force in the universe. You think about it, if you go back to John or his film, if you could go back and recut your film, I guarantee you would approach it with a sensitivity and a wisdom and a confidence. You go, why didn't I see that before? Well, you didn't have a choice. You were inundated, you were frenzied, you were, under the gun. Art is not a collective form. It's a single vision, and you have to be very careful who you let into your vision, because obviously no one sees the same thing the same way. And I compromised. Imagine Picasso doing a painting and needing 500 people. Well, that's what you need in a movie, 500 people to carry out a single vision. Good luck. Now, finally, it's just me. That's it. And you're sticking in your 2 cents too, so it's okay. Why am I eating these things? See, this is nerves. Pure and simple. The other ones were a little bit more realistic, a little bit more grounded in the streets of Philadelphia. I thought money had transported him into a different phase. He's lost kind of like his grip on the streets. So he has a robot, he has cars, he has money. What I'm missing here is what's at stake, the soul. I missed it the first time around. Apollo Creed gives him back his destiny, which is he's a warrior. And he had sort of given that up. He's dressing differently and living like a man without any care. Everything was perfect. And nothing's perfect. Life is just about management of problems. And whoever manages their problems the best has the best life. He wasn't managing any problems. Knocks him in the corner. Instead of hitting him 4 times, 1, 2, and then here comes Carl before that punch.
What are you adding with this fight?
I just think it'd be great for him to rally so it isn't a complete slaughter. Then you go, oh, Apollo Creed did go down fighting. He didn't go down being slaughtered.
Why is that important?
I just think that it enhances his legacy. Also, he shows that Drago is vulnerable. He isn't just the guy going to walk through you. That Rocky maybe will have a chance against this guy. He's incredibly strong, but Apollo does get to him before age and obsolescence takes over. So I just think it layers it, because nobody wants to see, a bull taken and just led to the slaughter. You want to see the bull fight.
35 years later, what is the metaphor that you're making with this different version of the fight?
A warrior is a warrior to the very end, and though he may be defeated, he won't go quietly into that good night. There's something noble in his defeat. Right now, there's nothing noble. I mean, he goes out and gets slaughtered, and he gets slaughtered for ego. Oh yeah, I want to be remembered. But now, he's showing you why he's so great.
So do you think you made a mistake before, or this is something
Yeah,
that just
completely,
happened?
absolutely. It was too superficial, and that comes with age. Obviously I'm a lot older and been through a lot of wear and tear emotionally, and so you understand the human condition. Back then, it was very superficial, and I was just, on a physical level, but I realized the physical level is nothing compared to the mental.
Stop the fight!
Anytime I can avoid this straight-on shot when reacting to something off screen, I feel it's more cinematic than, as soon as I see this, I realize I'm in a movie. As soon as I see this in the side, I realize we're eavesdropping on someone's life. Like that angle, I'm eavesdropping. When I sit in an audience at a movie or an event, that's usually the way you look at people from the side. You don't go, hey, how are you? You don't do that, because obviously it's rude and self-conscious. But you do that.
Okay, ready? Action of it.
Stop the fight!
Cut.
She actually would.
The Russians got free trap now.
In this movie, we create a lot of guilt, real guilt. I didn't think the guilt was as profound. It's his fault. He allowed him to fight the guy he was supposed to fight.
When you were writing the script, was that the theme that was prominent in your head, guilt?
Not as much, not as profound. I thought it would be. I was thinking more of just a tale, like a great adventure. And I didn't think of the ramifications. Like, okay, he dies. It's like the death of a legend, like Muhammad Ali. It's like it has profound repercussions. And then the guilt that you allowed it to do, and then you realize what burden it put on his life, which is eventually seen in Creed. You know, it just had long-term repercussions. I never thought like that.
I've never seen Apollo take so much punishment. Put it down!
Before, Rocky could have stopped the fight and didn't. This time, he's dropping the towel, but that punch hits at the same time. So as the towel drops, everything drops, his life drops. He's just a second late.
I came to win.
No, not the other reading's better.
And then the lesson is, I cannot be defeated. Ready? Action. I cannot be defeated.
Good. Also,
And I'd like to thank my manager, my agent, and all the people that supported me throughout my career. Okay.
I'd like to thank the people that raised me, the people that introduced me to herring and other Swedish health foods. I'd like to thank my Viking ancestors for teaching me how to brave the cold.
Soon, the whole world will know my name. Drago. Drago.
Hallelujah.
Soon, whole world will know my name. Drago.
Push pressure.
Drago.
What started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster.
It does.
Rocky IV. Well, winding down. Every time I go in there, I think we're done. We're not done. It's almost like panning for gold. God. Let's go back for one more nugget. And then you realize you find one, and then you get maybe 2 nuggets, maybe 3 nuggets. Before you know it, you're digging a new mine. So eventually you just have to go pull the plug. But the truth is, in art, the plug is never pulled. Never. Okay. Woo! I think the biggest problem I had as a younger filmmaker was lack of patience and confidence and extending the moment. I was always very cognizant, okay, the audience is going to get bored, jump ahead. Instead of giving them the benefit of the doubt and let the emotion sink in, I would rush right through it. And now I completely see the fallibility and all that. It's very frustrating, it really is. That's why I'm so happy to get a shot at this. It's like, imagine getting a shot to re-edit your life. It's like go back and do things that you always wanted to do. You know, obviously you can't do that with everything, but that's the beauty of film. You can go back and revisit your reality. That's so much better than what was in the film. But you gotta milk it.
Yeah, let me cut it in and then
Yeah.
you can.
Because in the original it's just cut too short, and I guess I was in a hurry that day. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh.
You can't win!
Yeah, just a couple of frames off the head. You can't go, please. You can't win. Wham. It's not a delayed
How
reaction.
strong he is! You can't win!
Perfect. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
All right, let me take this out.
Get rid of the old stuff. Out.
Keep going on this. You keep it
Yeah. Keep going until you turn. Yeah, and right there, that's where you go to Adrian, okay? And what we already have. Oh, Adrian, there you go. Adrian. Wow. There's so much footage that it's very hard to wrap your head around, you know, with a million feet of fighting, this and that. So I guess I didn't peruse all this stuff in depth. And now I see, I went, oh, it was all there.
So you've never seen this take
Never.
since you shot it?
I've never seen it since 1985. I thought, how do we make this so different? There's not much more I can add to his backstory, but I can visually take him in a different direction and use a different sound and a different cutting pattern, which I caught a lot of shit for.
What do you mean?
Well, because it was at the height of MTV, and they considered this a 90-minute video.
When some reviews took you to task for what you just said, what was that like?
If you don't switch up, perhaps you're just going over the same ground. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna gamble. Let's surround him with more visual and music and this constant bombardment of the senses, which you cannot do with drama. If you're doing traditional drama, you walk in the door, you say the lines, you walk out the door, as opposed to montage where you're just hitting them with 2.5-second cuts. So you're bombarding the senses. There's synaptic overload. That's why montage is so effective. He's being exploited and treated like a non-human, right? For totalitarianism, and Rocky is on the other end. He's sacrificing himself. And this guy here, I don't know if he's sensing something in Rocky that's different. There's no fear, there's no this, but it's a different animal. So as opposed to Apollo Creed, which he didn't have any feelings for, he was just an object to destroy. I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Because by the end of this fight, they both changed. Whereas Apollo dies because he goes, we can't change. Of course, we have to adapt or cease to exist. So that's the difference. And the more I can mine out of this stuff, the more the audience is going to take away something besides just a fight. They're going to take away, we went through a journey.
Have Drago speak for himself?
Yes?
Yes, well.
Well, I have nothing to say.
Ooh.
Okay, now,
Hey,
That one?
well, it looks like he has something to say, but he's not allowed to say it. I have nothing to say I have nothing to say.
After you'll speak for
We know he's lying.
Yes?
Yes, well.
We knew-
Well,
we knew.
well,
Dolph, you owe me.
nothing.
Hey, we don't keep up people behind a wall with machine guns.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm the unsilent majority. Big mouth.
Hey, why? Pick this thing up. Why now?
What was that? I know it's a hard line. I'm the unsilent majority. Yeah. God. Oh, I can't even keep a straight face. Let's try that again. That's funny. You never know what you're gonna get with Paulie. The original idea started out with Joe Louis when he was fighting Max Schmeling. Max Schmeling was considered a tool for Hitler. So he comes over, and Joe Louis, considered the greatest heavyweight, was beaten to a pulp. Hitler used this as propaganda. See, we are the master race. We came over and destroyed Joe Louis. And Joe Louis now had this entire weight and this humiliation of losing. It wasn't just him. America lost to Hitler. So he just brooded and trained, and then they had the rematch. And it was literally two countries coming to war. And Joe Louis goes out and literally beats him to a pulp in the first round. Makes him squeal, crushes him. Hitler loses his mind, basically bans Max Schmeling, like you're persona non grata, and America goes on to regain its status. Democracy prevails. He held the title for 12 and a half years. He's considered like the greatest heavyweight ever. So it was a big deal. I said, why don't I do that today? History repeats itself. So here you have Rocky, who's Joe Louis. And then you have this guy, Max Schmeling, from the super race. And the exact same thing happens.
How many movies did you do with Bill Butler, who was the cinematographer?
4 or 5.
Quite acclaimed guy, right?
Oh,
Jaws.
he's a great guy. You know, it's my responsibility to really set it up. It's not his. You know, guys are trained in a traditional fashion, but boxing is sloppy and awkward and rough and chaotic. It's not structured. This is not structured. Look at it. I'm over here. Why is Tony Burton over there? The other guy's leaning against the ropes. It's deconstructed, which makes it real. The first time they used canvas with stars and it's red, white, and blue, and it started taking on a theme. Before that, fights weren't thematic. So if you looked at fights from the 30s to the early 70s, it's literally the same ring. Black ropes, gray canvas. So I thought each fight with Rocky would take on a theme. This is a very futuristic fight, at least at that time. Look at us. We're in space, we're technological, we're biological. We're gonna take you into a world of the future. Your fighter is from a world of the past. No one has white ropes like that. No one has Russian insignias over the ring. It's very Star Warian. I wrapped the post with Mylar, so it looks like chrome and mirror. It's just way over the top because it was like a political rally.
So when you're putting smoke in this, which is very, very different to put so much smoke, did you think of people might criticize you for that, or?
Oh yeah, but it's not a fight. It's a statement, a recruiting method. It's like, I'm going to show you that we are better than you. We are smarter than you. We are cooler than you. We're more modern than you. They're using Drago as a recruiting tool for how far their society is ahead of ours. But Drago has no soul. They eliminated his soul. He doesn't want a soul. They didn't want him to have a soul. He's a machine. But as you know, machines break down. And that's what we see in this film here. We see literally, he regains a soul. He becomes a human. And how does he become human? He has to experience serious pain. He's never been hurt. When Rocky introduces him to mortality, wow, I can be cut, I can be hurt. They told me I was impervious. I'm not. I'm human. I'm a man and I'm vulnerable.
Did you feel all this when you were writing it?
Yeah,
you were
I did.
aware of...
I did. I mean, obviously I pontificate and vocalize a lot more now, but that's the crux of the whole thing.
It's a non-sanctioned fight. This is not for the title. The American Boxing Commission have not sanctioned this bout.
Find the British voice, and there's no British people in the movie, so someone decided, I guess when I was in lunch, to add a bit British commentator.
Who would decide that?
I don't know. They've probably been deported by now.
Well, when would this be put in post-production or during production?
This would have been done in 1985.
But while you were shooting or after?
After.
And what's a loop group?
Behind my back.
Yeah, what exactly is a loop group?
Yeah, loop group comes in and, you know, they make noise in the background and they kind of give it some vitality. But no one asked him to do a blow-by-blow description of the fight.
Well, you're mixing the movie. You must have heard him.
I did not. You know,
This is not in the movie?
it is in a movie, but I'm claiming amnesia. Sorry, I'm going on the amnesia vote. All right, let's move on.
With all the boxing movies made before Rocky, what did they get wrong?
Our perception of boxing is through TV, and it's always filmed from one side. They never cross angles. In movies, they start jumping around. Second of all, they go inside the ring. You're never inside the ring. And that's a specific moment where you're saying things. So there's always obstruction through the ropes. There's always a foreground. And very few people know how to throw a punch. So when they throw, it's arms, and you realize they're not trying to hurt each other, rather than actually practicing so they can swing so hard and miss by this much. But that takes months. One of the worst crimes is you always cast fighters that fight the same way, you know, the same styles. When I got an opponent, they're radically different, and usually they're more powerful. There's a lot of mathematics that go into boxing. I've always said people, you know, they look at boxing films, I say it's the hardest film in the world to make. The dramatics have to be worthwhile to make you give a damn about the movie. And second of all, the fight itself is a whole other movie with no dialogue. The key is the cutaway. What are you fighting for? And that's all I gotta say about that.
Insult is more typical rude behavior towards visiting foreign. But perhaps this simple defeat of this little so-called champion will be a perfect example of how weak your society has become. We all...
Tell me a little bit about Michael Pataki, who plays that Russian. He's such a significant part of this movie.
Well, I don't think he's Russian, but he's a great character actor who mastered accents. He just came in there and tore it up, and I thought he was the real deal. I thought he was from Siberia, Moscow. He just was a complete surprise and embraced everything and just dominated so much that I kept writing more and more and more dialogue for him. So he just killed it.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
There's one thing that looked one way when you have the pipes, and he has the pipes. It's a sound, and he had the right sound.
No more talk now. We will talk after.
You developed your voice, didn't you?
My voice is a product of a lot of things. I was born in a charity ward, so we didn't have a lot of money, so they killed the nerve here. And that's why my mouth is crooked on one side, and my voice is very, very deep. I have to keep it up, and I slur, because, you know, a portion of my tongue doesn't form exact vowel sounds, especially THs. But it turned out to be a blessing. You know, it made it very, very unique.
But you worked on your speech impediment in college,
I tried
right?
to work on it as much as possible. I worked on it to the point where I became somewhat intelligible, but it would never be crystal clear. I would never be doing narrations for nature documentaries. but it's perfect for the kind of characters I played.
Did it inhibit you when you were starting out as an actor to have this?
Yeah. I was always basically castigated or just removed. What'd you say? You're unintelligible. I remember my first reviews on Rocky. They said I sounded like an old mafioso pallbearer. Something like that. It doesn't bother me anymore. I realize it's there. I can't do anything about it. It's different. I just sound like me. No one sounds like me, and I don't sound like other people. So, you know what? All's well that ends well. What are you going to do with all this stuff?
I want an editor to edit it.
Why can't you cut it yourself?
Because I'm not that technically assured to do all the editing I want to do.
I can do it.
No, you can't. You can't do what I want to do.
Is it that complicated?
Very complicated.
Well, I wasn't expecting a documentary on an iPhone in a little office doing a movie that's 35 years old that because of this particular COVID season, there was something to do, and it turns out you end up doing a documentary on it. Okay, well, good. Good luck with that. This is a treatment for the upcoming film entitled Rocky IV. Isn't that funny? The film opens up exactly where Rocky III left off, with Apollo and Rocky in the gym. They're about to spar one another, exchanging one-liners. Finally, they both unleash powerful punches at the same moment, and both of them go back against the ropes, fall down. In the film, of course, I decided not to get punched and fall against the ropes and fall down, and we froze it. And Apollo's supposed to say, "Did that hurt you as much as it hurt me?" And Rocky goes, "Absolutely." And Apollo goes, "We'll just say it's a tie, okay?" That's the way it was supposed to go down, but it didn't. Apollo sees once and for all that out of sight, out of mind, and in a fury jumps into a taxi with Rocky and heads to the Russians' training camp. Never did that, but it gives you an idea of how much a movie transitions during the writing. In the taxi, Apollo and I exchange heated words about the idealities and the philosophies and why Apollo does not want to be remembered as just a punk, a boxer. He wants to be remembered as a symbol, not just a professional punching bag, as he says. He wants to make a political statement. Oh, okay. Forgot about that. He wants to be an earth shaker, to be the first one to defeat a Russian in a sort of undeclared war. This is the choreography, and so you write it out like music. Jabs, counter, so on, so forth. And you have to memorize all this.
What did you find today?
I found gold in an editing room. Drago was very simplistic. He was there, he was a wrecking machine, he was basically a robot. And coming across these moments of his where he tries to express himself, and you go, why didn't I put that in the original cut? Because you feel for him. It's like he's freed himself, but also he's going to end up a tragic figure. Hey. Oh, they just went. This right here? Oh, my God. 18, 19, 20, 21, 23 on that answer questions.
Going back to resume filming Samaritan next week?
Yeah, about 2 days.
I mean, what's that like? Pandemic.
Should be a lot of work. It's a pain in the ass. I was tested today. I have to be tested on Monday. Then as soon as I land, I have to be tested again. And then tested the next day.
What's the test like?
Well, it's down the throat. Eventually you feel like a sword swallow.
How long does it take to get the results?
Well, now they're just a couple hours. Yeah. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. The main thing is time. The studio's not gonna go an hour over. Already the studio's lost millions and millions of dollars. Every studio has. So there's no mood for any sort of insecure acting or directing or producing or anything. You better just go in there and get what you need and get out and forget all the frills. Okay.
Maybe I can.
He goes in there with a neutral, sometimes a defeatist attitude, and he has to overcome it. So through his training, he starts to gain a little bit of momentum and self-confidence, but he still goes in there knowing it's 50-50. He never goes in with confidence, I'm gonna do this. The only time I ever wrote that was in Rocky III, when he was winning and winning and winning. We find out they were all easy fights. This one he goes, oh, maybe I can't win. So the audience now is on board because that's life. This was shot in Canada. Believe it or not, this is where they have rodeos. In the last Rocky Balboa was 12,000 people. And here is probably 2,000. And it looks like a lot more. It's just the way it's distributed. You see the backlighting? The audience is supposed to be mysterious. I don't want to see them in like their bright makeup. They're supposed to be kind of like in judgment of things. And this audience is definitely looks mysterious.
This is not for the title. The American Boxing Commission have not sanctioned this bout.
Rocky, we got you!
Hey, Rocky, we got you. Well, I don't understand where these voices from hell are coming from.
Was that in the movie?
Unfortunately, it is in the movie, but it was. It won't be now. Hey, Rocky, we got you. Hey, Drago, nice hair. Got you. Okay, that's gotta go.
Let me mute that too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Lose this. Lose that. And here we go. Keep go. This is where I'm gonna go from. So I hit him, you cut around to this, and you see me then shove him out. That's great. Oh.
And now this means more, because you didn't see it before.
That's what it looked like. Drago.
You want to try cutting the Drago's corner or the crowd?
Well, it's first it would be the crowd, the ones that like those are just waving, and it's Drago kind of a thing. So let's see how that cuts. I don't like those close-ups inside the car. They're just too vain. That's much better.
So you think you were vain back then in terms of these shots?
There was an abundance of vanity. So every time you see the extreme close-up, you put in something like this, okay? Oh my God. Oh God.
Now when you're directing yourself, was anyone giving you feedback?
No. If I'm directing, I'm thinking, how am I gonna cut this scene before I cut it? So I'll sometimes start with the close-up on them because I know they're gonna give it much more. And when I get to the wide shots, I'll work backwards. You have to know what kind of actor you're working with. Some guys, they get more intense with every take, and some get worse. I don't like doing a lot of takes. Anything over 3 takes, you're not prepared.
Really?
I think so. Unless it's an accident, it's a lighting problem, the wind kicks up, someone blows their lines, but people shouldn't blow their lines 3 times in a row.
Do you give everything on your first take?
Yeah.
Okay. Action.
What happens when you're working with somebody and you're not just in a close-up and they have to work up? They need a lot of takes.
Once you have it, then you can experiment. But if you don't have it, don't go searching for it on my time and everyone else's time, because you're burning out everybody because you can't figure it out. You follow what I'm saying?
But some actors work
That's like
that
some
way,
guy
right?
playing football, right? You got 11 people. Let's use that analogy on a movie set. You got 11 people. The running back has never read the playbook. So he's going here, he's trying to figure it out. You're going, no. You go, the quarterback says you go from here to there. He goes, okay. No, I said from here to there. So meanwhile, you spend 3/4 of the game explaining where he should run, instead of reading the playbook and knowing what you're supposed to do before you get there. I learned everyone's lines.
You learn everyone's lines.
Everyone's lines. That way, after a while, I can actually focus on what I'm thinking about. A lot of people don't learn their lines until they get to the set. They go, keeps me fresh. I go, oh, bullshit. What if a brain surgeon decided, like, you know, I'll figure it out once I get in there? Come on. The craft is knowing it, storing it, letting it incubate, letting it ferment, and then the creative juices kick in. When I see an actor walk onto the set in the morning with these sides and they're going, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee and kind of like fold it over there. Okay, let's go. What do you mean I don't owe you money? I've seen actors that actually don't know their lines, and I'm feeding them lines. I've taped their friggin' lines to my shoulder. I have cue cards out here, and then they're going, they blow that, and they say, well, it's not written clearly. I say, guys, why don't you learn your freaking lines? You know what I mean? See how he comes up like that? That's the peak of his moment. As the arm reaches the top, that would slingshot us and catapult into the next cut. Let's not get too colorful, Sly.
Whoa, look at that shot. Oh, that's a cool shot.
That's good. That's much better. Let's keep going. This was an insane venture. How do you do all this, and like, it's exhausting, and then you have to direct, then you have to choreograph, you have to rewrite it. It's just definitely not conducive to a long life. But I'm glad I did it, but I don't recommend it. You could cut this fight in a million different ways. You can't expect an editor to actually get it exactly how you see it. It's a different rhythm, just the way you dance a certain way, I dance a certain way. I punch, see, like that. This punch has always bothered me. This, to the naked eye, is the most egregious angle you can have, which is profile, because there's no way you can fake it. You can only fake it when it's head on, like this, because you have no depth perspective. We can't have any of this, none of the recut. No. Go back. There, that punch, it frees. He's moving so fast, you normally don't catch it, but now I'm very sensitive to it, having watched the same mistake for 35 years, and this has to be remedied. So it will be replaced.
Did he ever connect?
The first round when he knocked me down, that's for real. You could feel them usually just after a while, the good ones. He would leave his hands a little soft, so the punches would just touch you, nick you, like that. The thing is, he wouldn't bear down on it, which could hurt you. You'd see there's the softness in the hands. I connected a lot, I gotta admit. I'm a cheap shot artist.
You did?
Especially, oh yeah. Especially to the body. The proof is in the picture.
No pain. No pain.
So,
Keep taking it
he would go, did I do something wrong? While you were hitting me in the kidneys. I go, I didn't realize it at the time. That's a hit. Hit. Miss. Hit. Big hit. Big hit. I love that black mouthpiece. The story is not in the punches. The story is in the expression. If you're not feeling what's going on emotionally with both of these guys during the fight, you might as well just see two rams butting heads. Keep going forward. The cut, is there. You see how he leans over? When he leans over towards the left, go back a couple frames. That is the complete opposite of what the original was, where I take a complete beating. This is like interesting. Like people are not going to expect this.
Why do you want to change this?
I don't want it to be so one-sided. I want him to gain respect for this guy immediately. So what we've given Drago is a vulnerability. So when he says this guy is like a piece of iron, no one's ever stood up to me like that. In the original cut, Rocky takes much more of an ass whooping, and I thought I'd like to see him not keep getting punched and punched and punched with the same shots, that he finally just kicks it in the high gear, and I saw some vicious stuff I've seen over 3 decades. I said, you know what? We're never going to see this again. I mean, there was so much choreography and practice. I said, why am I wasting it? So we put it in there. Now it's 4 punches, it should be 3. The mathematical equation of punches, 1, 2, 3 is your best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a little theatrical, but 1, 2, 3 is usually the maximum that you can be effective at one time, that all 3 could land. A real fighter, if you kept hitting him on the side once, he's gonna block you. You're not gonna hit him 3 times in a row, he's just not. That's pure movies. So Dolph was lifting his elbows up so I can do that. But now that I've learned a lot more about boxing, if you see here now, that's real. 1, 2, 1, 2. Action, reaction, slip. It never is stagnant like, It's boom, boom. That's the key to really good boxing. I'm, half-ass at it, but when you see a pro snap, that's the difference between an actor and a pro. It's just that pow. There's never been anything like this particular choreography. This was at least 6, 7 months. This will never be surpassed. It's impossible. And I'll be that brazen and egotistical. It just was a different time. I mean, I look at this today with great pride going, how did we ever do that? Crazy. Okay. We definitely got to dial down the sound of those punches. They're too loud. I'd like to optically blow this up about 10% and do this. See how it's coming in from this angle? And right now, so you see him doing this, but then you see him coming in underneath? Not good.
You want it to be more
I want it to be like that. So it looks like he's coming from above, which he would. He's 6'5". See what I mean?
Right.
Right now he's throwing a punch here, which makes no sense. There it is, right away. That's 100% better. Wow. I want him to be on the same wavelength as me. So therefore, you tilt him 25 degrees. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, there. Now, blow it up. Tilt more. Keep going. Tilt to the right. Okay, blow it up. See my head and see his head? We're on the same frequency now. Get it?
Right. Okay.
We just figured it out 3.5 decades later.
And you haven't done this anywhere else?
I haven't done this anywhere else. See, it's just great.
Wait a minute, you haven't done it anywhere else in
this.
any of the Rockies?
No. I'm a better filmmaker now that I don't make films. Okay, here we go. Oh, keep going. Back, no. You see that? Oh, where was this? Keep going, back. Keep going, back. Okay, now, he comes up. Bang, what was that? Right there. You see the left hook from Dolph?
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, this is so exasperating. Whew.
But you're getting stuff you never had.
I know, but man, it's like laying on your deathbed going, why didn't I just say I love everyone? And why didn't I just try to get along? Why didn't I make amends? Why didn't I figure it all out? When you know, when you're in your prime, why, does wisdom come late? You think, oh yeah, I did it, man. I left nothing on the table. People realize they don't leave crumbs on the table. They leave entire banquets on the table. They're not even aware of it until it's too late. I've evolved, but the movie hasn't evolved. I wish I could, let's try to bring this up to date. This is not something that's solitary to me. I think this runs through life, and everyone could have done better. Everyone thinks you did. Oh, I did a great job. No, could have done better. And everyone wishes they could go back and revisit and redo and retool. Oh, I guess they love to that one, and boy, I wish I'd done a better job here. And I wish I'd applied myself more. And I wish I'd run a little faster there, dug a little deeper here. I guarantee you there isn't an artist that lived. Not one. Since the first guy that crawled out of the swamp and did a cave painting, who doesn't think they could do it better today?
You just discovered what?
Apollo's not wearing his boxing gloves when he goes, I want you. And in the next shot, he's wearing his white gloves.
I want you!
And now he's wearing gloves.
So in 35 years, you've just noticed this now.
That's pathetic.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Oh, God, what, 100?
And been there and everything, and this minute
Mm-hmm.
is the first time you've noticed
First time I've noticed he has.
that he doesn't have boxing gloves on.
Exactly. This is actually done after the fight, all the corner stuff. Because I like to get the fight done and then work backwards. Wow. Go in slow motion there.
Oh.
I don't even know if he's wearing his pants. Okay, so replace that shot, please.
And pound marker, Buchanan.
And what we have is I want you. He did it in the same configuration, but he didn't raise his hands.
I'll do it again.
I want you!
Oh, seriously, would you? Yeah, I gotta follow up my hand up and I know it's gonna spring. Okay.
I want you, Drago!
Oh, seriously, would you?
You had also mentioned last time that if you had to do again, you wouldn't kill Apollo.
Never. If I had to do it over again, I never would have killed Apollo. Absolutely not. It was foolish. I thought I needed that kind of springboard to project the drama on his really great, powerful velocity forward. Him in a wheelchair, he would have assumed the role of Mickey. And now his physicality has been diminished. We would have seen a different side of Apollo. He could have opened up to all these other things that we didn't even know about him, because he's now in a wheelchair. And he would have kind of like been a father figure, mentor, brother, been really great. Like he would have been embraced by my family. Then you have his family too. Then what about that whole thing? Yeah, it would have been
It would have changed the Rockies from there.
It would have changed the entire trajectory of all the Rockies. I mean, there would have been Rocky 5 would have never happened, and Rocky 6 maybe never would have happened that way.
And Creed.
Yeah, well, Creed probably never would have been made. Crazy, huh?
Wow, big. What do you think Carl is going to be when Carl watches
He's going
this
to
and
be
goes
pissed
on?
off, very pissed off.
That he goes, wait, I could have lived
for 2 more films, another 20 years. He's going to be so aggravated. Sorry, Carl. Sorry, Carl. Okay, moving on.
Energy up, action! What round is it?
15th round, the last one.
I'm a fan.
How many hours have you been in this editing room?
Hundreds. Sun is just coming up when you get here, pretty much. This actually is a very bright room because I let sunlight in. I was afraid of getting rickets from lack of vitamin D. I anticipated 2 days of just snipping, a little trim. I shaved this movie's head. We got to start from the beginning with the sound. And for all of those that don't understand, in boxing, there's thousands of sounds. There's crowd, the canvas, and the gloves, and the whistling, and the clapping, and booing. It's an orchestrated chaos.
So isn't this a rather big job to do all these punches?
Having to deconstruct something that was a physical medium as opposed to now, which is all digital. Elements that are 35 years old. It's a lot more difficult.
Balboa picking up the Russian and throws him to the ground like a wrestler. It's a gutter war. No holds barred in Moscow.
Rings have paddings. When I do a film, I take the padding out, so it's basically canvas right on the board, which makes it faster. But when you hit the ground, you're hitting basically a floor. So these shots here, it's really reckless.
Would you say you've donated your body to the movies?
Yeah, I've definitely back to my body, my spine, my shoulders, my hips, my neck, knees.
Is there any point in your long career you go, I'm really hurt, I gotta back off this?
No.
Why?
I don't know, it's just something about just doing it, just saying I did it. I never planned to be an action actor, and it just never entered my mind. I had always been more into dramatics. The first plays I ever did were always, the classics, and then you go into Death of a Salesman and Eugene O'Neill, and we'd start going to existential comedy like Ionesco, and so on. So even some by Camus, even did the only play by Picasso, which was very odd. Desire caught by the tail. Somehow I got into action by accident. When I read the screenplay for First Blood, I thought, Jesus, this is a no-brainer. This is real pathos. Action, when it's done properly, is modern mythology. Well, through the teachings of Joseph Campbell, every society deals in mythology, and that's the way I approached it. And then that I was cast because I liked it. I really liked it because it translated into different mediums. I think sometimes I and did too many. It didn't go back and forth because I enjoyed doing films like Copland too. I feel very comfortable doing films like that. So a lot of the Rockies I tried to make dramatic, like Rocky 1, Rocky 2, the last Rocky, Balboa, Creed. There's a lot of drama in there. Yes, but it's not a sports film. It's a drama. It's a drama.
So you don't consider any of the Rocky sports films?
Not even close. No. And this one here is very unique because the fourth one is introduces character in a different way. Drago, more modern, more mechanical, more driven by music and montage rather than actual having him do scenes, long, laborious, verbal scenes. He's so visual, you don't need for him to speak a lot. The less he speaks, the more mysterious. So I said, okay, how do I handle this dilemma? Because I'd written a lot of dialogue for him. A lot of dialogue. He was not shy. He was outspoken, he was intelligent. I said, wow, every time he talks, he diminishes his mystique. So how do I keep the mystique? Montage.
Connect that to Dolph Lundgren. How did he impact that decision?
He impacted by just, first of all, going along with it because he had been, studying acting. He was very good. But I think he trusted me, and I guess it paid off because he's still considered one of the top 3 villains of all time, without being a real villain. He was manipulated. He was a lab experiment. He's the Frankenstein monster. A friend of mine was at a restaurant that he happened to show up at, and
which friend?
You, actually, John Herzfeld, the man in the mask, the muffled interviewer. And I was going to cast a beer, bullish, is that what you're talking about, kind of guy?
Yeah, you had said the concept of him really changed.
The concept was an ape, basically a giant Neanderthal, primitive thing, terrifying. And Rocky would have been, oh my God, this would have been something overwhelming, primitive, huge. And then you told this Dolph Lundgren, why don't you send your picture to Sylvester Stallone?
Well, he went home. I told him to go home.
Went home, came back to the restaurant, gave you the photo, and then you shipped it to me, right, or someone.
I brought it to you.
You brought it to me. So your memory's better than mine. And I went, wow. Light bulb goes off, news flash, bolt of lightning. I go, wow. And I completely changed the script at that second. I went, all right, original concept, gone. New concept. Drago is the future. He's not a primitive. He's the future. He's science. He's evolved 1,000 years where man should be. Perfect, intelligent, flawless. Perfection. Whereas Rocky is not perfection. He's awkward, he's smaller, he's flawed, like I said before. And this guy is perfect, which takes it almost into an android. So you're fighting technology against humanity. Really interesting concept now. Science against natural evolution. And I thought the audience, my God, they're gonna see something they've never seen before because no one had ever seen anyone like Dolph Lundgren before. Not only is he, 6'5.5", like IQ of 160, 65 plus, you're talking about a chemical engineer and a Fulbright scholar. This is like, come on. So he was the embodiment of that.
Let's talk for a second about Talia Shire.
I don't think that she was ever given the full credit for the success of the whole Rocky series because without her, there is no him. He just wanted to redeem himself, that he wasn't a bum from the neighborhood, and that in his eyes, he could look in the mirror and go, wow, I amounted to something. And that was due to her. He finally had something to live for, something to protect. And she, with her incredible understated acting ability, embodied an entire silent majority of women that kind of live in this pressure cooker existence and never really get to blossom. And you see her blossom. You see her literally go from a dying plant to a rose. Acting with her is like being against a great change-up pitcher. It's gonna be a curve, a slider, a fastball, like a jazz woodwind. She's up and down, all over. Really incredible. I got very, very lucky.
Ready?
When you think of this shot here,
That's my homage shot.
yes, and this is homage to?
Steve Reeves, guy that started me out. Like this skinny kid and really thin. I was dodging school at 12 years old. I went to a theater and they were playing Hercules. He's coming out of the temple and he's been chained up and he whips these chains. And he pulls and it's like this, really iconic shot. And literally my mind exploded. It changed my life. I literally came out of there with a purpose. I want to be that. So when people say your films influence, absolutely. If you're going to theater and your mind is open, but there's still some questions in your soul about something, about your life, this, that, and all of a sudden, your dilemma is played out on the screen. It just resonates.
What was the name of the theater?
It was called the Silver Theater in Silver Springs, Maryland.
You went
remember
alone?
it like it's yesterday.
You went alone?
Alone. Got on the bus for 10 cents, sat in that theater, it was empty. I went from there, that movie theater, right to a junkyard and started lifting anything. There was brake things or axles, like pieces. Not big, but enough. Then I took a couple of pieces home and tied them together with ropes and I just started lifting junk. And that was the beginning. I never looked back.
Why do you think you have such ferocity?
I may not be the most athletic, but I've become very animalistic. A lot of people have this killer instinct, but for some reason mine is very near the surface. That is what I think adds a lot of validity to Rocky, because when he punches, the skill is not there, but the ferocity is just primal. And that's what gets him over the hump. You remember years ago when I got into that arm wrestling contest with a guy who was like Mr. Adonis, and he was like huge. Remember? He was like huge. We were skinny.
He was
like I think it was like 19, 20 years old, something like that. He was Mr. Adonis, and he said, "Why don't you arm wrestle him?" I said, "He'll probably break my arm," at the University of Miami. And then we locked up, and I went into this wolf mentality. Remember, I said, I'm a wolf, and he couldn't believe it. I kept howling, like this, just so primal, and he was beat. And if you remember, he had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, and you also have to remember, he was a championship bodybuilder of University of Miami.
Yeah, he was a championship. He was huge.
He was huge before it was huge to be huge.
I know.
He was much bigger than you.
Oh, much bigger.
He didn't work out at the gym.
No, it didn't work out at all. But it was a mental thing. He couldn't lose to me. It was impossible. And that destroyed him. You were there. Am I right? Yeah. He had a nervous breakdown. He never went to a gym again.
He was the Greek god of the University of Miami campus.
The Greek god of the university. That was his.
He was. Wherever we went.
Blonde hair.
And by the way, not a bad guy. A nice guy.
Not a bad guy.
But
it just was what? I was arm wrestling for a different reason. I was like, he thought this is a good joke. So I try to incorporate that into a fella who's not that big, but he's just ferocious. Kind of like a Mike Tyson, where you make up for the size with the ferocity. It's all about what's at stake. that what is your motivation? Are you fighting to eat? If I don't win, do I get deported? Something like that. I mean, what are the stakes? Quite often the stakes, I just want to be champ. Not good enough. I can't relate to that. The audience can't relate to it. So when Rocky goes in there, in his first one, his goal is just to be not another bum from the neighborhood. I just want to be able to stand up. I just want to be standing at the end of my life saying, I did it. And everybody wants that. No one expects everyone I'm going to be this, I'm going to be a genius, I'm going to, invent a new light bulb, I'm going to walk on the moon. No. I just want to be able to stand at the end of my life and say, yeah, raised my kids, did this, pay my taxes. I lived a decent life. And I left something behind, which is dignity. Period. Because without dignity, without that sense of self, you better break every mirror in the house. And so that's what's happening here. That's why when I see Dolph doing this, and it's like he's coming apart in the ring. He's not there physically anymore. He's there just intellectually. He's going, oh my God. Everything that I thought I was, I'm not. And this guy, what he's fighting for is obviously more important than what I'm fighting for. And that's it. It's the hunger. It's the hunger. Now I realize why I end up in the hospital all the time. And the spine has always been thrown out of whack, and the shoulders had to be operated on because it's just reckless abandon. Just
so you have a great ability.
I'm proud though. At least it's on film forever. Okay. The injuries are on film forever. This is what I was talking about, winding up, getting emotionally a little, right? Watch. I recommend it. Everything in the rushing gym is warm. Everything for me is cold, except when I'm indoors. What can you do about the red lights in there? You think with the 4K it's going to be more accentuated? What it is, he's training in infrared. Like it's for sweat and this and that.
Yeah, I can increase.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So Sly, you're color timing the movie right now.
Yeah.
What in 35 years do you want to do different? Something that's sitting on you that you wanted to change?
Yeah, it's too warm, so I definitely want to do the Russian training sequence in a bluer, colder tone. Actually, in this fight too, it's very unnatural, and it's really not the color we are. So this is all going to be cooler, which will be more realistic to our skin tones. It's a big job. And thank God I don't have to do it. Should we put blue tone in there?
Sure.
I think that might help.
Yeah.
You think this could be brighter?
Well, it's like overcast, right? From the snow.
Well, yeah, it's overcast, but when I was there, it just seemed brighter.
Okay.
The snow was whiter.
Yeah.
I think the blue look will help a bit. I want this to be glaring. This is such a stark contrast to where he lives. Everyone has a tan. Like, not such a bad place. Wow, look at him. He has a tan. When you see fresh snow like this, there's a reason you put on sunglasses.
Yeah.
Because I know these guys for real. They're as pale as corpses.
What are you doing?
I'm making notes on what Mr. Stallone tells me about the color and the image and brightness and darkness and so forth.
Anything you can do right here. See, right now this to me seems dull. the light on the center of him, that's a big floodlight, and I don't feel like it's doing much. Also, all my flashbacks are in black and white.
Oh, cool.
There's no color to color. I'm the only one in color while driving, since I'm in the present. Everything else is in the past. So this is all black and white.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
High contrast too, you know what I mean? Real noir. And it should have kind of a grainier effect.
To make it look like it's flashback?
Yeah.
We were debating about trying to go back to the original footage instead of the dupe that's in Rocky IV.
Right.
You want it to be green, so we won't do that.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, just pull the color out.
Right.
The colors, while they're great, they're really bright. But I think pulling some of that will give a different feeling to it.
It'll give it a more mature feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
More dramatic, for sure. This
And
is,
less 80s.
I was going to say, this is classic 80 coloration.
Yeah, just saturated
Classic.
everything.
How our tastes change.
Right. Let's hope so, right?
You know, as you get older, you get rid of your tchotchkes. Enough already. Get rid of this shit.
Yeah, I like it clean.
We're having a Rocky IV yard sale.
Right.
The robot's the first.
The robot's gotta go. No offer refused. The fact that Rocky IV worked is a minor miracle, because it's what, half montage.
Well, that's right.
It's like 5 montages in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a real experiment. But this time, it's going to be a drama with all the superfluous, goofy stuff out.
Do you remember your first day of filming with Dolph?
The final fight. That was the first thing we shot. Is my entrance, his entrance, and then the introductions, and then the fight. And then I got really injured during the fight, and I had to be flown into intensive care back in California.
From where?
From Canada. And I stayed in intensive care for 4 days. Decided to have a reshoot. I said, why don't you just come in the first round and just take me apart? And I said, yes, and just unload on me, and I'll do my best to defend myself. And then the fight will begin. So it shows your actual dominance, and that's what's in the original movie. Well, he pulverized me, and I didn't feel it at the moment, but later that night, my heart started to swell. And he bruised the periocardial sac, which is usually when the heart hits the chest, kind of like in a car accident. And when your chest hits the steering wheel. And then my blood pressure went up to 260, and they thought I was going to be talking to angels. Next thing I know, I'm on this emergency low altitude flight to St. John's Hospital, and I'm in intensive care, surrounded by nuns. Then after that, I had to go back and finish the fight. Crazy, huh? Oh, yeah, hello. Jesus. How could you cut out of that? Oh my God. What were they thinking? Run that again, please.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we get past this. Let's get there. No, keep going.
That's the camera. I'm pretty sure that's the
That is the shot.
That's this shot, yeah.
Yeah. Can you make it work? Oh, you lose a frame in the negative.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
They cut it? Let me see.
I don't think it matters. Because if necessary, what we do is we go from there to the piece that you put in and back to this.
All right.
Damn it.
There is a take 2 if you want to look at it.
Okay, yeah.
All right, F.
That says it all.
Yeah, with a towel over your head?
It says it all. make this work. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Look at that. He goes there, and then
Cut back to him here before we cut to this?
I don't know if we need this.
Or do we cut to this even?
No.
Because here's what this shot is just him walking across.
No, I would go to that shot. Go to Dolph. Go back a little bit, please. Then go to me. Walking past, shaking my head. Then see if the geography works. Then we'll go back to the last shot with the towel on the head. So you cut back to Dolph, and then you cut back to this. Sorry, that's what we just saw. That is what we just saw.
This is from a different setup.
No, I get that. This setup, I went up, and then it stopped. And then it would stop.
The other one was the
continuation.
Continuation,
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
From where you're.
Right. That's from I'm yelling here, going. Right.
But it's more in the stuff going on in the corner.
Yeah. So this stuff here, let's check it out because it's pretty vicious.
You know, why don't you play it from the stream on?
Yeah. Back it up a little bit to where. All right. Psyching up. Let's go. Any of that, but that's pretty good. Let's see another camera. Here we go.
Ooh. That's a great shot. Oh, right there.
Sound. Where's the sound? Damn. This is cut up like a Cobb salad. This is a morass of self-discovery, kind of like a swamp. The deeper you get into it, it becomes cinematic quicksand. And if someone doesn't pull you out, you're a goner. And pulling you out usually means they cut off the money. So that's the rope they send down. There's no more money. Okay, you got to come out of the quicksand.
So in other words, if you weren't returning to your Samaritan, you'd be continuing.
This would be really a lost cause, because I would be here, and then my wife would end up divorcing me. My children would disown me. That's the problem. Directors live in a isolation tank. Once you commit to a feature, it becomes an addiction and it's all consuming. I think Frank Capra put it very succinctly. He said that reality started when he drove onto the backlot of Paramount, and fantasy started unreality on the drive home. That wasn't real, and that's so much the truth. This is always difficult. It's editing room separation anxiety. Gotta finish this.
Back at it!
I've got to go.
He's gone! He's gone now!
I guess, you know, when you're a lot younger, you're you don't think about pacing, and you don't think, everything seems to be, let's get to the chase. I'm going, as long as there is emotion spinning inside, you are chasing. Your body is reacting. It's very animated. So it says, what is more important, getting to the fight or getting to the heart of the fight? And I went, wow. So all this stuff was done originally that I literally have forgotten about, and I have to write that off to the folly of youth. Period. I didn't believe in myself as a filmmaker the way I do now. Now I have wisdom, I have experience. Now I realize what is really valuable. Much more than just the patina, the shine. It's what's underneath the shine that gives it its value. You want to see something amazing? Check this out. Okay. Just watch the momentum there.
This is just a street fight. It's a question of who wins it most. He's winning.
Watch this. Here we go. Look at this. Go, Rock, go! Oh, is that an ass beating or what?
What do you feel watching this now?
I feel foolish. I said, my God, like the ship sailed, circus left town. That's why this is a mixed bag of emotions right now. It makes me very angry. Gratified, but also angry that I didn't see it at the time. But isn't that the conundrum of life? It really is. If I only knew then what I knew now, there it is. This is like getting dressed for a prom in a dark closet. You come out with a brown shoe, a black shoe, a bow tie, a red shirt. You know what I mean? You don't know until you put it together. I haven't actually seen it all the way yet. So this would be the first night. Yo. Here we go. Yeah. I'm very gratified that I got this chance to go into a time machine, and I realized that the movie didn't change that much, but I changed, and then the movie changed. I just am a different person, and I've lived a lot in those 35 years. It transcends just a boxing film. I think right now it's a drama about individualism and man against the machine, man against the system, rugged individualism. Super highway, coast to coast. All the fights are like now. heart what you think is right, no matter how many people go against you, no matter how many times you're turned down or rejected or laughed at or scorned. If you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. And you have to be able to go man against the world. And sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But that's the value of being a free thinking human being, no matter what the cost.
There's always the possibility of holy intrusion. He gave his life to know those answers.
Stop being a man.
What'd you think?
I'm a happy man. I really think that we nailed it. We delivered the knockout blow. I finally said what I wanted to say. I should have said 35 years ago. That man, all of us are entitled to follow our dreams, to stick to our beliefs, no matter what the consequences is. Because in the end, that's all you have, is the faith in yourself. And if you keep believing in that, eventually it will come true. Your dreams will come true. But you have to be able to take a few good punches.